Welcome to Millionaire Before 30, where we are on a mission.
Guys, we are on a mission, that is right. We have designed this entire show to give you the blueprint of how to become a millionaire before the age of 30 years old. I'm Ryan Zolin.
I'm Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and we have a fantastic guest on the show today. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Introduce.
We got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Gino. I'm going to butcher your last name, Palumba.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Palumba.
That's perfect. That's a dream.
Let's do it.
Gino, 22 years old, started at 19, got into the real estate investing world out of Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
And tell us about your business now. How you doing? How was 2021? And let's get into some of your strategies. Let's get into it.
2021, we did over 68 deals with over $1.8 million in gross profits. Our team now, we started 2021 with probably around like 10 or 11 people, and we ended with about 24 people.
Okay.
So we built up. We are virtual in terms of we've all on the phone closings, appointments, and even though we're in our market of Atlanta, that's where I live, we still do everything virtual. So we have a lot of overseas employees, about half the staff is overseas.
Wow. Are these callers or these?
Yeah, so it's all over the place. I mean, we have lead managers, we have acquisition managers that are in Bolivia, one of them. Yep. We have cold callers, texters, and then we also have our marketing director that runs all our marketing, and she's in Venezuela. So
really,
yeah, so it's all over the place.
So we're gonna break all this down. So 68 deals, 1.8 million. You've got a team, 24 people scattered throughout the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, and with the 24 people, let's kind of break this down because people are going to be real interested in the different roles here. Perfect. So let's chunk it down to the three parts of the business, right? First part is lead generation, second part is converting those leads into an agreement, and the third part is exit strategy, right?
Perfect, yeah.
So the first part, lead generation. Who heads that up, and how are you finding deals?
Okay, perfect. So how we're finding deals. So who heads it up is actually our girl Marion in Venezuela. She
shout out
to Marion, yeah. So we do cold calling, texting, which is our number one, and also TV ads. And we just started direct mail. Okay. Direct mail and some of the SEO stuff. But that's mostly how we find it. We have around 4 texters, I believe. Again, it's ever changing. Actually, my operations man, he would be the best one to give the exact numbers here. Sure. But I think we have about 4 texters, 2 cold callers, and then we have some also copywriters. So for some of the texting as well, because constantly changing those scripts as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think that's pretty much it in the marketing staff.
Let's talk about that real quick, because we have a lot of the audience does text messaging, and it's a big frustration, right? Constantly having to change it up because everything gets caught by the carriers and their filters and everything. So what advice can you give people there? And your copywriter, now copywriter, I mean, when I look into it, it's expensive, right? Did you find something that's reasonable?
Actually, I found so good question. I found a girl in Spain.
Okay.
That she loves copywriting, and we actually hired her to be a call quality control manager first, to listen to calls and see how they're graded. Yeah. And then I sat down with her, and then she told me she wants to be a copywriter in the future, not necessarily with our company. I was like, wait, hold on, this is actually might be a good fit here. Right. We're gonna need that for a texter. So her job for you guys listening, she's constantly every day, and I don't know the exact number, but she's constantly creating new scripts and new outbound messages and to stay away from the carrier spam.
I mean, this is every day, every week.
She's grinding it out, because we send about 3,000 texts a day.
Perfect.
So the reality is we know how the market is now with the spamming and the caller. So you have to just be on top.
3,000 texts a day, 4 texters that are responding. Yeah, exactly. They kick the leads to your acquisition managers.
Yeah, lead managers actually.
Lead managers. Okay.
So yeah, they'll push it. So they'll do as much as possible in qualifying, right? But at the end of the day, we want them to get on the phone as soon as possible with the lead managers.
And then the lead manager would transition it to your acquisition people from
exactly.
there. Okay.
Exactly. So it's we work in that way. Now we started doing live transfers between lead managers and acquisition managers, and that way we can
Fantastic.
keep it quick versus having that process, which it seems like it might take a while. But
how do you find this talent? Where are you finding them?
That's a good question. So we actually had a VA business too as well. But how that started too was the origination from this is I found these first 2 couple of virtual assistants in Latin America, and then they liked the job so much they just referred all their friends. Obviously we gave them incentives to do that, but I'll be honest with you, we haven't looked to hire any of these virtual assistants, at least just through, the referrals. We haven't looked at, posted ads or anything recently about that.
Really?
Wow.
So how do you find those original?
So original ones, it was Upwork.
Yeah.
Upwork, simple Upwork. And there's also outbounders.com is a good software as well to use.
There you go.
Yeah. For your callers?
Yeah, for callers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the president of Outbounders created Call Motivated Sellers.
Oh, really?
Who I've been working with a lot because I used Outbounders in 2015.
Wow.
Right?
Gosh, yeah.
And they have the biggest pool. They have like 20, 40, 60,000 phone prospectors that they can pull from, and it wasn't getting the traction that I wanted. And I was like, you know what? I really want to have American callers. I just want somebody that sounds like he or she lives down the street. And so they put together Call Motivated Sellers, and that's what it is. It's all the expatriates that live, in outside of the country mostly. Some of them are here, but that's how that really started, was through Outbounders. So that's
Really?
great.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So let's go. We're there, but let's go when you started. Let's give people the journey of your first 12 months, right?
Because you were 19.
Yeah, I was 19.
Okay.
Okay.
So how you were in college then?
In college. Yep,
Sophomore.
Exactly. Sophomore.
Okay. What is the thought process of going from being a sophomore in college to I want to basically create a real estate empire?
That's a good question. So it all started with finding a Max Maxwell YouTube video like September or like end of September, early October of 2018. And I was, doing a lot of entrepreneur stuff since, I was like 12. So by the time I found Wholesaling, I was like, all right, I'm going all in on this. I saw it. And, the big thing there was I watched the video, saw them talking about bandit signs, and I immediately bought it that day, like 200 bandit signs. And so by the time I get them, 2 weeks later, mid-October, I start putting them out all over the city. And I landed my first deal, closed it actually like November 10th. So pretty quick, I know that's rare.
Yeah, sure.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we did put in the work to get it in there. And, that's how it all started. And I had no one with me at that time. Later, actually, right after I closed my first deal, I bring in one of my buddies, my best friends, which no longer works for me, but we can get into that later. But, you talk about partners. I know.
I've been through that.
Yeah. So anyway, I just brought him in, a good friend. And then, that was the end of 2018. I finished up with school, and then I went really hard in 2019 after Christmas break, and just cold calling, TTP, baby.
That's it.
Talk to those people.
I love it. Wow. I love it. So you started, were you calling or did you outsource immediately?
No, immediately I was calling actually the entire time. Calling probates, calling all this stuff, right? And, just trying to get those contracts.
Weren't you scared, though? I mean, you're 20 years old. Did you own any property at the time, or were you just renting or living with family or what?
No, I was actually, my dad, I was blessed because he wanted me to go to college, so he bought me, I didn't have to pay for my education. Right. And then also, because my sister, previously, she's older, he also got us a townhome in the college.
Sure.
So I had all my buddies living with me. Yep. So I was, living rent-free, having a good time. But, I was scared, obviously, getting on the phone. I think we all are when we first start dialing, right? The first 2 weeks, I'm shaking on the call, afraid when someone answers. But, later, gaining that confidence, keep talking to people. And
for sure. Yeah. What was like the biggest difference maker you think of when it all clicked? Was it that first deal a couple months later that it was proof of concept, or was there at one moment specific where you're like, this is the vehicle?
I would say it's probably, it has to be when I got the check, But I mean, at the same time, when I saw people doing this and I saw who was doing this and that if they can do it, I can do it, because I saw younger guys doing it. And Jalen White was doing it too, during that time. And so I was like, all right, look, this can be done, so let's just go after it, So, I mean, it was from the beginning, I felt pretty confident in it. But once you see that first check and you grab that, that's a big proof of concept.
That's it. Let's not forget about our co-pilot here, Albert Bowie over there.
Hey,
look at these guys. I'll tell you what, real quick, just as a side note, look at these guys' shirts. I love it. Look at that. That is looking good. Agent Investors. Why don't one of you guys tell us what that is? What is that?
You already know. We got our Agent Investors course coming out April 1st.
Awesome.
Super excited about that. We're finally able to launch the education system with teaching how to work with real estate agents and with on-market deals.
Getting deals on the MLS.
Correct.
It's going to be incredible. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, awesome. So, Albert, any questions so far?
I was curious because people always talk about the fear of first calling. Can you tell the people what your first calls sounded like? What was your mind, your process, and everything?
I mean, actually, to be honest, I think I had the Brent Daniels script, the
Yeah.
TTP script from from wholesaling, the Max's Facebook group. It was in there, and I would be looking at that, but I'm sure it was a lot of stuttering. It was a lot of nervous talking. I mean, I don't even want to think back what it looked like or what it sounded like then. I mean,
it's kind of nostalgic, though.
Yeah.
Anybody that's going through this, let me give you some hope and some really positive emotions here. It's difficult to learn a new skill, but the more reps and the more experience that you have, the easier and more natural it comes. And when you can talk to at least 1,000 property owners and ask them if they would consider an offer and really try to understand, do they want to sell? Because that's what a lead is. That's somebody that is going to sign an agreement with somebody, whether it be retail or wholesale or whatever it is, creative finance and whatever it is. It's somebody that wants to transfer that title. That is a lead, right? Once you discover that, once you feel comfortable having enough conversations to discover what a lead is, that's when the magic starts taking over. That's when you start going, holy cow, in my mind, I'm making $1,000 an hour making calls. I'm making $1,000 an hour making the calls. And I'm telling you, you talk to 200 people yourself, you'll get one deal. I'm just telling you, it might take 90 days. That's the tough part. That's when you really got to see what you're made of. That's when you really got to understand, do I really want to be a real estate entrepreneur? And just like Gino's talking about here, he pushed through it. Now, 4 years later, or 3 years later, not even 4, 3 years later, almost $2 million in gross revenue and 68 deals and 24 people on his team scattered throughout the planet. I mean, I'm telling you, right? But it doesn't happen if you don't get past that first part, right?
Take the action, make the dials, and it'll come your way,
That's right.
What do you think right now is like your biggest struggle?
Biggest struggle is always, I would not say always, but I would say just the people, and I feel like we have a great team, but it's like, growing now where we're at in our position of our company, where I'm sitting is I now have to train people to become better leaders.
Sure.
Yep. Not just better employees.
Yep.
They need to be leaders to the marketing, the directors of my, the marketing director, the sales director, whatever, and that's me right now. But, other directors, I got to train them to be better leaders because now they have a team underneath them. That's the hardest thing is taking someone from an employee mindset to a leader.
Love it.
Sure.
I was watching this Robert Kiyosaki little clip, whatever, on entrepreneurs, and he was talking about how the kids in school that got the A's on all their tests and all the things now work for the people that got the C's.
Exactly.
And he says because the people that got the C's understood how to collaborate and get as much talent as possible, not be the smartest person in the room, but bring the smartest and best talent together in the room. So most of being an entrepreneur is recognizing the talent and the potential of the people that you bring on and bring on the right people and really grow it, which is kind of like, wait a second, that seems crazy. Don't you have to be an incredible specialist in something?
Exactly.
No. You need to be an incredible leader. And it starts with putting the work in your first and earning the right to actually lead somebody.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to
You got to put it in. Yeah,
exactly.
I love it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let's run through a wall.
I know.
Roll,
well,
baby.
you know what I mean? I mean, that's
man.
really what it comes down to. A company is, a business owner is more about the people that work there than anything, than themselves.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It has to be.
Always.
Or it's going to be constant overturn. There's going to be constant ego issues, and it's going to be limited by the ego of the owner.
For sure.
That's it.
People first.
Right.
Love that.
Yep. So awesome. So out of calling, texting, internet leads, TV leads, what's your are they all 25% of your sale of your deals?
Say we spent out of the deals. So I would say it's about the majority of it's probably about. It's obviously it's different every month, but I would say it's probably 60% SMS, 35% TV, and then the rest being cold call or SEO leads or whatever it may be. Yeah. So
texting is a big feature. That's why you have a copywriter. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
No.
Albert?
No, first time.
I'm hiring a copywriter.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can I just go to Upwork.com and find somebody?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, like you just got to find the best person that fits your team. And you know, I didn't go exactly looking for a copywriter. Like I said, I just found that she was doing quality control, but she told me she was looking for it. But yeah, I don't see why you couldn't just go to.
So let's also take a step back and just make sure we're dumbing it down a little bit here, because I'm even a little confused. What is a copywriter?
Yeah, so the copywriter, I mean, in our business, what she's doing is she's writing different outgoing messages every single day. And for our texting campaign, so it can prevent us from being marked spam, right? So we can mix up all these keywords, and that way we're not flagged by the carriers, and you know, prevent us from not reaching to other sellers, right?
Gotcha.
So I mean, truly a copywriter, I might not know the definition of that, but you know how she's working in our business is just constantly writing, you know, paragraph, different scripts.
They pick
you know,
the words.
There you go. Nice and easy.
It's a copywriter.
That's
they
awesome.
pick the words.
That's awesome.
And you would be surprised how powerful that is.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow. Incredibly
the amount of time
powerful.
that would take just to go in and change each text.
One word on a text could be the difference of 10x the response rate.
And you guys are keeping track and like looking at your numbers at which campaigns are doing better with which scripts. Correct?
And again, like our marketing director handles all that, but she's constantly looking, say, hey, what's marked as, what's lower delivery rates coming in, what messages are causing that. Let's put them on hold. Let's go to these. Let's make this other, whatever it is, at this point.
Are all of your employees then salary or are they commission?
No, so all the copywriter, they're all on just an hourly pay.
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
And the marketing director, though, she is on a base.
There you go.
But
what about sales?
Sales. So I'm the sales director right now. Underneath me, I have a LM, lead manager director, and I got an AM lead director, and they're both working managers.
Yep.
So they're all the lead manager director. He gets a $3,000 base.
Yeah.
And he gets, I believe it's 5% of any deals that he does, but also 2% over where we were at the time he became the manager.
Sure.
So obviously whatever he provided more to the team.
For sure.
And then same thing with the AM, except he gets about 12%.
What's an AM?
Acquisition manager, sorry, or home buying specialist. That's actually our new way. We've been calling them home buying specialists.
I love it.
The sellers, because sellers obviously, you say an acquisition manager, they're going to start tensing up. I don't want to talk to a manager. Yep. We just talk to our home buying specialist. So
I love that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the home buying specialist, he gets paid about 12%, and then he also gets 2% over whatever he brings in.
When he's copywriter, home buyer specialist. You're spitting fire first 18 minutes of the show. Guys, if you guys are getting value out of that, make sure you hit that like button.
Yep.
When you hit that like button, that exposes us to more people to bring into our world. The more audience that we have, the more incredible guests we can bring onto the show because they find value. They want to talk to you. So get it going. Make sure you hit that like button and let's rock and roll.
I can't believe he's 22.
22. That's awesome.
And let me say this too.
Well, the beard throws it off.
No, this ain't a beard, man. This is not a beard.
Gino, I was making a joke, but how long have you been 22?
Shoot, man, about almost 10 months.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Man.
Okay, so 60% from texting, 35. Talk to us about TV. When did that start?
So TV actually started in a weird period of 2022 November.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 2020 November.
Yeah.
Which we all know was the election time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I immediately stopped that in November because the cost per ad, the cost per lead went from like normally like $250 to like $800. So we stopped that, and then we started continuing it in December. But if we also remember what happened December of 2020 is when Georgia had their Senate runoff, which is the largest campaign push. So we were still tempted to do TV during that. So we got it taken to us. But by the time March came, that's when we first got our first deal. So why I'm emphasizing this is like it took like 4 months to get our first deal closed, and we're spending $25,000 a month on it.
Yep.
Wow.
So you could think, I'm over here thinking after December, January, February, no deals closed, $75,000 in the red. That it was getting a little scary. But good thing is we caught up. We used some better exit strategies towards the end of the year of 2021. And, we ended up with like a 2.7 return, right? 270% return, which is obviously not what we would love. At least at least 3 for TV, especially what we're spending. But, we're at a 2.7. But the reality of it, Steve was actually big in keeping my morale up.
Steve Trang?
Yeah, Steve Trang. And he was telling me, like, look, Gino, at the end of the day, like, if you're on TV, that brand you're building, especially at, you know, such a young age, just stay on it. You know, it's not, you can't measure that.
Is it you?
Yeah, it's me on the TV
on the
commercial.
ads?
Yeah.
There you go.
Do people recognize you?
Not really, no. Some of my friends, though, they do, like, they'll Snapchat it, you know, on Instagram, like, yo, we saw you on TV, but, like, no one, like, has came up to me yet and said, you know, you're from the TV ad.
It's coming.
Hopefully, one day.
Keep going. Just keep it going. That's awesome.
In there, you had mentioned you had to get a little creative and try some different exit strategies. What does that mean?
So, yeah, what we did, like, for a lot of, about starting May to probably about September, is we started selling a bunch to Open Door. Taking it down and selling Open Door. And that's especially, that was when they first started, not first started, but obviously, but that's when they were pretty new in terms of the Atlanta market, at least. And they were paying boatloads of money for these homes, and not barely any inspections because it's during COVID, and you know, we just took advantage of that, to be honest with you.
What about the hedge funds? Have you
so
messed
I mean,
around at all yet?
we have a bunch of hedge funds, but what we were seeing during that time is just like Open Door was buying everywhere too. You know, and so it wasn't just like the hedge funds, double yellow, this and that. Like they were buying everywhere Open Door, and we were just, and you know, we weren't even under an agreement yet. You know, we didn't own the property, and we would already get the process started.
Wow, that's awesome.
You know, so it was pretty powerful for that.
You had them under contract, you submit it to them, you close on it, and then they close, and you get big
about
checks.
2 weeks later,
Yeah, we've done some with Open Door. We found in Phoenix the hedge funds. I mean, they're going 110% retail. You know what I mean? As is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bananas.
It's crazy,
right? It's different in every market. They have different buy boxes, but they're very bullish in the Phoenix market.
I know Phoenix.
I'm sure in Atlanta too. But
they're pretty bullish there too as well.
Is Atlanta your only market, or are you in other markets
just
as well?
Atlanta, just Metro Atlanta.
Very cool.
I'm trying to hit a specific number before I think about any other markets. You know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Wow. Well, guys, remember, this is a question and answer show. We need your participation. So a couple different things. In the comments section, I want to hear about success. I want to ring this victory bell here. If you have locked up a deal, if you have sold a deal, if you went on your first appointment, whatever it is, we want to ring this victory bell too. We want your questions. We got Gino here to answer them for the next hour and 8 minutes. So make sure that you put in your questions here, and he is going to answer them. And I'm sure we'll pop in there as well with some of these. And if you have not subscribed, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We come out with new, exciting instruction every single day. And we go live 3 times a week. So make sure that you get notified when we do. Here we go. Lorenzo Harkins, is the majority of your staff virtual or in-house?
Yeah, so our whole staff's virtual. And what I mean by that is we have no office. You know, we have a lot of people in Georgia.
You work from home?
Yeah, work from home. Everyone works from home.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, keep
so
going.
everyone works from home. You know, we have about 8 people in Georgia, but again, there's no office. We have our dispo girl in North Carolina. You know, we have all our, you know, VAs in Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and even some in Spain. So yeah, no, we're I would still say, you know, even though we're in Georgia, we're still virtual, right? Everyone works from home.
Do you struggle with like time zones with that?
No, actually not really. Because Venezuela is like right now, because they don't practice daylight savings either. I think they're 1 hour ahead of Georgia, Eastern time. And then our dispo girl, she's in North Carolina. We do have a Texas lead manager, but you know, it's an hour or two.
Spain or anything.
Spain, that's a big one, but like, you know, we have our copywriter there now. It's 6 hours ahead. Yeah. And she grinds it. Yeah, she grinds it during.
Just get it all. Yeah.
And didn't you travel for a big chunk? Was it last year, the year before? How many days? Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year, 2021.
We found the VAs.
Is it?
No, it wasn't.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, no, I graduated from college in August of last year.
Yeah.
And
so you still, you were running this business, going to college at the same time?
Exactly, yeah.
Living in a townhouse with your buddies?
Yeah, exactly, all my buddies.
Oh my gosh, did they think you were crazy?
Well, so one of them, like we were talking about earlier, he was my partner.
Okay.
But then we decided to part ways in 2021, the beginning, January 1st of 2021. And actually, my other roommate now is the COO of the company. Awesome. So like it kind of like reversed roles a little bit, but we're all still really good friends. We hang out all the time. And yeah, but I ended up going in August of 2021. We went 80 days to Europe, me and my girlfriend. So yeah, we took off.
80 days.
Took off, yeah.
That's insane, man.
How did you unplug?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I still worked.
Right.
But it was like 2 hours a day max usually. And, you know, we just had the team in place, right? and she's actually the TC.
Yeah.
So she wasn't unplugging at all, but
yeah.
you know, like she worked again like 3 or 4 hours a day, you know, cleaning up some titles and stuff. But you know, we just did it. You know,
you built it virtually. Did you build it virtually for this so that you
yeah.
can travel like that?
Exactly. So actually, one of my presentations in CG, Collective Genius, a mastermind we're in, is I did that whole based off like I have a text message from 2018 when I first started, and I was saying like I want to be able to do this virtual. I was telling a seller this because she was like telling me that she's been to Switzerland and all this, and that's where I just came from actually that year. So I was like, yeah, I want to go there, you know, in the future. I want to live there for a couple of months, and so yeah, I have a presentation on like how we built this around, you know, our lifestyle and how we wanted to do.
Love it. Awesome.
For sure.
That's awesome.
What else? There we go.
All right.
Michael, SMS versus cold calling. It's not verse. It's both.
Both, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Michael, listen, if you're going to be paying for skip tracing, take advantage of it, right? If you can't get them on a text message, you got to call them. If you can't get them on a phone call, you got to text them. So you can do them simultaneously, which I highly suggest that you do to get the most out of your investment into those phone numbers or the addresses that you have skip traced. So do them both. If you look at our business, we made about $100 grand more cold calling last year than that SMS, but both of them were over $500,000. So well over. So you know, it just depends. It just depends on where you're at in the beginning, and it depends on your schedule. If you are part-time, maybe try out SMS. You know, try to send out 50, 100 messages a day and get the response and call the ones that respond to you. If you're not getting any traction, you got to pick up the phone. I mean, picking up the phone is a long-term skill. Your ability to communicate effectively with different personality and different communication styles is vital, not only for getting deals, but for being a leader and managing an incredible, robust team. So I would say get on the phone as much as possible. But if you're really, really, really congested with your schedule, then send out texts.
There you go.
What do you guys think?
I would agree with that.
Yep.
I don't.
Huh?
Systems.
Oh, batchleads.io for SMS texting. And then my cold callers are through callmotivatedsellers.com. They're very expensive. They're the best of the best. So if you don't have a huge budget, it's probably not the best one. I think they're $22 an hour now. Damn. Because of inflation. They were $20 an hour for forever. It might be $25. I mean, they always get so mad at me. Yeah. They're like, Brent, you tell everybody it's like, you know, $20 an hour, it's 22. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. We live on really tight margins. Okay. Anyway, I think it's 22 or 25. There you go.
All right. The
Darren. The Darren.
Yeah, let's just go with that. For a newbie, what is the main tool to get? There seems to be different tools for each process. I think the second part of that absolutely answered it. There's so many different tools for each process. All three of us are going to have different tools we use. So,
well, let's hit them up and just talk about it.
What do you got?
I mean, first you got to get the data.
Yep.
Right. So whether
who are you going after?
Yeah, it's who you're going after. Which, you know, that's like you said. There's so many different ways. You know how we do it now is last year we did a lot of prop stream stuff.
Yep.
And now we bought into another data provider, which is really expensive, Audantic.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how we get our data. What about you guys?
Batch skip tracing. That's what we use. But we're very, very, very small margins direct to seller. So like when we're pulling a list, it's like 1,000 to 2,000 people.
They're getting it off the MLS.
MLS and agents.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's where we do like 15, 20 a month.
You guys need to talk.
Yeah.
For real.
I remember Steve was telling me about you.
Yeah. If you're just getting started out, my suggestion is you get Deal Machine, the Deal Machine app. Use TTP coupon code because it's the biggest discount they give. And I'm telling you, you build up your Driving for Dollars list. And what that is basically you go around your community and find the ugliest houses possible. And then you can skip trace in Deal Machine. I would highly suggest you get on your computer with your list, export it, and put it to batchskiptracing.com because the data is that they spend a lot more on their data. And it's just a better quality, and I want you to talk to more people. The more people you talk to, the more opportunities you get. And that's where I would start out with. I would start Driving for Dollars. And by the way, there is a free course if you really want to look at what this is on ttpinsider.com. So we'll see how many of the runners I can get in the first 30 minutes of this thing.
Keep going. Just keep
Back
going.
and forth.
That's
I like
it.
that.
All right, Zania. So since your team is virtual, do you guys get all your deals virtually too? How would you recommend someone to start virtual with little to no budget?
All right, so I'll answer the first question first. Do you guys get all your deals virtually too? Yeah, we get them virtually in our own market though, right? So we're not going on in-person appointments. The only thing we do have in person is off the walkthroughs and showings. We have a runner go out there, or one of the frat presidents of the local university.
Yeah,
he
sure.
recruits all the guys, and they come out, all the members, and so they show the property to any potential buyers, right, with the sellers there. And then how would you recommend someone to start virtual with little to no budget? I would say if you're starting with little to no budget virtual, I guess it's pretty similar than what you would do, I guess, in person, other than that you wouldn't be able to door knock and, do some of that driving for dollars, but you can drive for dollars virtually. Right? Yep. So if I'm starting, with little to no budget, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find obviously the low cost, marketing sources or marketing, situations, right? So maybe I'm doing, some SMS, or maybe I'm even, what I like too doing, and I'm going off a little tangent here, but I like also, if I'm starting out virtually, again, I'm building a relationship with other wholesalers, and I'm talking with them, and I'm trying to see exactly, what are the hot areas, and not only that, and pitch that with also finding those buyers as well.
How does that conversation go?
Well, if I'm talking to another wholesaler, what I would be saying to them is, hey, look, I'm starting out, but, I'm looking at, seeing where I maybe possibly could find, where's the most cash buyers buying at. And, if you can find that, then I would also probably pitch to a wholesaler too, depending on what you want to do, right? If you want to work more the JV route, hey, if you have any deals, send them my way. I would love to provide them to, I am starting out, but, I do have a couple buyers, and hopefully you already went on Facebook and, found some buyers or whatever it is. But, try to bring in those two together if you have no budget. That's what I would do. If I had no money at all, and I actually just made a YouTube video on this too, but if I had zero money, I would definitely just partner with other wholesalers, and or you do it on the market as well. There's so many different ways.
For sure, and that's kind of where my approach would be. I always tell everybody the best thing you could do when you get into a marketplace, similar to wholesalers, just talk to agents. Those are the ones that are down in the trenches that are actually going talking to homeowners as well. The only difference is that you're necessarily not necessarily getting rid of a wholesaler out of the transaction, but you're then building a relationship with a realtor that's going to bring you the opportunities. Then you bring that to the wholesaler relationships you just made. They'll help you sell the deals.
Exactly.
So
yeah, it's big.
Awesome. There you go.
Boom.
Pete, at what point should I transition to hiring a team? Have a few deals under my belt, but not sure when to scale. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I would say you don't want to just start hiring a team right away, right? You want to hire one position at a time.
Yep.
And what I do is whatever I was, in which a lot of us have heard, whatever I wasn't very good at, that's what I wanted to get delegated. Because if I'm the best salesman, and that's my most revenue generating activity, I don't want to release that to the very end if I'm what I feel the best value for the company, right? So I would start, Pete, one by one, right? And I would look at what is taking up most of my time that's not providing me the most return on my, time, right? And I would start there.
For sure.
I see it as a number, Pete. Todd Toback, one of my mentors and good friends, fantastic. He said you need to make 30 grand for 6 straight months before you hire anybody, right? Minimum. Sean Terry says 30 grand for 3 straight months. I think either one of those is really strong. You need to lead with revenue because remember, here's the absolute facts. When you hire somebody, you have the financial responsibility of them and their family in your hands. Is your business strong enough to take on that responsibility? It's a real question you need to ask. Not only that, but is there enough opportunities? Are you doing enough lead generation, or are you hiring them for lead generation? Do you have enough budget to be able to understand that when you bring somebody on, there's going to be a little dip in your business. There's going to be a little bit of training. There's going to be a little bit of, passing off to the other person. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's dramatic, but just remember, you need to have a good, fat, heavy bank account, or you're going to constantly be disappointing people by hiring and firing and hiring and firing and hiring and firing. And avoid that. It's just a lot of brain damage.
Love that. Not brain damage.
Yeah, I know.
Don't love
that.
that.
Yeah, I know. Let me see that shirt again. Why you got? Are you cold in here? You want to pop the top?
You keep this thing.
It's
like
cold,
62,
I know.
But you know what? Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're taking off the jacket.
Keeps you thinking on your toes.
Well, it also these
like
lights
interrogation,
it
bro.
gets hot with these. So, Nathan, sorry if you already answered. Just tuned in. Awesome. Welcome, Nathan. What markets are you operating in, and how can we squat up with you?
Yeah, so I'm in the Atlanta market, right? So Metro Atlanta. Nathan, if you're in there, just reach out to me on Instagram, and I'd love to work out and maybe do something together and provide some value.
Do you do a lot of dispo?
Yeah, we dispo for a lot of wholesalers. I mean, it's not our main thing, right?
For
But
sure,
we partner up with a bunch of wholesalers, help them dispo their homes.
What's the best way to reach out? Is it social media?
Yeah, social media would be my best way on Instagram. It's just my name, GINO __ Palumba, PALOMBA.
Boom.
We'll put it on here.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt, if you
Thanks.
can put it in there or put it in the chat, that'd be great.
Palumba.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Steve, when interviewing title companies to see how friendly they are towards wholesalers, what type of questions do you want to ask them and why?
Solid.
I'll let you take that.
Yeah. So,
Albert, if you want to chime in here,
Yeah.
I know you've got great relationships as well.
I'm taking it in here. I mean, interviewing title, it's hard for me to say that because when I walked in, Ryan had a lot of relationships, but now that I'm in the business and kind of looking from a 3,000-foot view down, one, they got to know, do you know what an assignment is? Learn that one firsthand. And two, it's just, I learned their personality really needs to match you. Are they organized? Or are they messy?
Yep.
So you want to make sure that they can, for sure, handle the types of files. But for sure, the number one questions is, do you know what an assignment is? And that will tell you, basically, do you even know what wholesaling is? And that'll tell you if they work with wholesalers or not. And that answers your question if they work with wholesalers.
Love it. Get a referral, Steve.
Yeah.
Literally, get a referral from anybody that you meet at a real estate investing association meetup or a meetup group or Bigger Pockets or Facebook groups. Just put who is the best title and escrow officer for wholesale deals, for investment deals. And then you already know that they're doing the job. Just reach out to them and just kind of feel out their energy, and people will respond. The people that you look for, the people that get a bunch of likes next to their name, and then reach out to them first. If they not, if for some reason you're like, nah, I don't know about this. They might be too overwhelmed, because they do get overwhelmed, and you want to try somebody else. You can certainly try somebody else. And the question I would ask them is one thing. Who's your biggest buyer, and can you ask them for permission to give me their information? For real. Because the title companies know everybody.
They do.
They know, I'm telling you, private money lenders, hard money lenders, and title companies know all the best buyers. And they know all. We talked about it yesterday. We talked about the levels to this game. The levels to this game is all about recognizing potential. You might look at a property in Phoenix and go, I don't know if that's a deal. Ryan can look at the same one and go, I can make 40 grand in that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because he understands the potential of that property in this market. Right? And he understands, and the only reason he understands that is because he works with buyers that he could sell this deal to. So if you have more buyers, then you can recognize more potential on more deals and level up every time until you get to the point where you start masterminding with incredible people, right? And they're doing incredible things, and then all of a sudden you understand, you recognize more potential.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you're like, that piece of land I could make $20 million on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's what developers do. That's how you level up as a real estate investor.
I actually want to hit on that too, Brian, because that actually just literally like summarized what we've been doing the last 2 months in our business. We changed how we get our MAOs, max allowable offers to sellers.
Sure.
And it's literally just based on the simple formula of what can we sell it on the MLS for?
Yep.
As is.
Yep.
And what do we want to make?
Yeah.
And there's cost obviously in between there. We got to pay a buyer's agent. We use a flat fee listing company.
Sure.
But after those fees come out, we actually did that presentation yesterday, and we pay every single deal. If you used a 0.7%, times ARV minus repairs minus your fee, even if you get up to 0.8% and even 0.85, we're still 25, 30 grand more than any other investor would offer to these sellers because we can sell it
for sure.
for way more money.
Retail buyers.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So we're
Right.
skipping the investor out, of our formula.
Because you understand the potential of those
Exactly.
properties. You look at it, and I see, and it's something that you see with Keegley and Jamil. I'll sell something and make like $90,000, and I'm like, I squeezed every ounce of equity out of it. And then they're like, oh, they just made $12,000 on top. Like, What am I doing here? What is happening here? It all comes down to understanding your buyer base and what their strategies are. The better you understand that, the better you can recognize potential.
Exactly.
That's it.
Big.
And that's the bid. That's the deal. Yep.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, so Michael said, I found the best title company ever. What do I do when I get a deal 20 miles away? Can I still use them? Yes, you can still use them, at least in our market, right? We actually use closing attorneys in Georgia, and they'll do closings all around the Georgia. No matter where it's in Georgia, our closing attorney can do them. So I'm sure that's the same with your title company.
Michael, I do deals in Florida. You know what I'm saying? They will send a mobile notary anywhere.
True.
Mobile notaries will go to prisons. I'm serious. You know what I mean?
They'll go wherever you send them.
I mean, mobile notaries will go anywhere and everywhere. And I think, if you're in a virtual, if you have maybe an older seller or somebody that's not very tech savvy, or they want that knee-to-knee, face-to-face, belly-to-belly appointment to go over a contract and sign it, get a mobile notary. Right. They don't have to notarize it. They don't have to notarize a purchase agreement. They can just get it signed, but they look professional. They're showing up. They're usually, decently dressed. They're there to get things signed. They'll go over the paperwork if you need them to, and it costs like $150. You know what I mean? Now, listen, if you can do it virtually and get it signed through DocuSign and save that, and it's a lot faster, do it. But for those very specific people that you're not going to go meet and they're far away and they want that extra love and attention, send a mobile notary. I'm telling you, it's easy peasy.
For sure.
There you go. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Here we go.
What's up, Nathan? Hey, Ryan, I got a deal for you in Kansas City, Missouri. You're buying flips out there, right? I actually am looking for some in the Midwest. So just send it to us on Instagram, either me or Albert, and then we'll get back to you.
What are you guys doing?
I've got some people that want to buy some properties in Missouri. I don't know.
Who?
Burr method? I don't know.
Recognizing potential.
Potential.
Recognizing potential. Contract season worldwide. Calling is not a problem. Getting appointments is not a problem for me. It's closing the seller. Doesn't want to negotiate if you don't give the price they don't want, and then they just ghost you. I love it. We even have gotten ghost once we come to the agreement and send the contract over. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. There's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to rip and run, but I want to hear from you guys first for sure. Right. So what was the first question? The first one, closing more deals. Okay.
So for us, at this stage in our business, like what we're looking for when we're talking to sellers, you got to see, when you're talking to these sellers, like, are there's true motivation? Is there a reason they want to sell? Because you're not going to be able to get every seller, obviously, to go with us, right? And I think, Brent, you used to always have a statistic out, but how many sellers, like in the marketplace, that actually go to investors?
6 to 10%.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 6 to 10% are in distress at all times.
Yeah, so like we're playing the needle in the haystack here. Look, so I train my lead managers, and this goes over, negotiating. I train my lead managers. Look, in 4.5 minutes, you should be able to know whether this is going to be a seller that wants to go with us by simply, digging deep into motivation, obviously hitting a little bit in price. If they're not there, we're not begging the sellers, to go with us, right? So we're going to quickly disqualify, and like I said, it's a needle in the haystack. We know it takes our callers 50 dials to get an appointment. So, hey, let's get the closest. We need to get the closest to those 50 dials as possible. Like, if this person's not a fit, let's just move on and put a follow-up with them, right?
There you go. So for us, we're obviously a little bit more on the MLS agent side, but we do get ghosted as well, where agents won't respond, or we'll submit an offer and then we just hear nothing after we built all this rapport. What we found is actually it's the likability for us.
That's it.
So they have to want to work with us. They have to like who we are. They have to trust us and know what we do as our processes. But then when you follow up, it's not as surprising. Obviously, there's a little bit of ways to kind of go around our method. They have people they work for. So when they don't respond as an agent, you can call their broker.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. This is gonna be. Listen, contract season worldwide. Becoming a unbelievable closer comes down to making sure that you pre-qualify these leads. It's exactly what Gina was talking about. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. These are the 4 things that you need to know before you go on that appointment. At least enough of them. Get an idea of those, because that is a qualified lead. That is somebody that is likely to do, we'll get to that. Let me just rant for a second. Yeah, so the condition, timeline, motivation, price, that's what you're looking for. You don't have to get all of them, but you got to get most of them. The more of those that you get, the more qualified they are. Then it's lead follow-up, and then it's 2 words, certainty and likability. Certainty and likability. If you go in cautious, you're going in, you're not really communicating effectively, you're going in and it's all, here's your offer, as opposed to building the relationship with them. You're not going to have the trust. When you don't have the trust, they ghost you. Or remember, when it comes to negotiating, there's 2 things. Really, there's 3, but really, price or terms, right? So let's just say that you go into a situation where it's a decent property, but they want a high price. Well, this goes back to those recognizing potential. Can you sell this to a hedge fund? Right? Can you sell it to Open Door? Is it a situation where you can refer this to a listing agent that maybe they can't give you a referral fee in the closing because you're not licensed? Maybe you are licensed. If you are licensed, you can get 35% referral fees. Right? Or you could get a ton of goodwill with that agent and they hook you up with you running comps or, whatever, listing properties when you want to sell them for a discount if you do some flips. Or maybe they pay for all your marketing for the year. Right? Exactly. Maybe they pay for your dialer. Maybe they pay for your skip tracing. Maybe they pay for your prop stream and your deal machine, your batch leads. All of these ancillary fixed overhead costs that you have, they pay for that because you referred over. There are options on every deal. You can get paid on every single lead. But what if they want to do creative financing? Okay, listen, I can give you that price, but are you willing to take payments? Are you willing to take payments? Like, there's a lot of different tools in the toolbox. If you're just getting started, I completely understand. If this is like, a blowtorch to the face type of thing, you're like, oh my gosh, there's too many things. Just focus on ugly houses, okay? Focus on realistically pre-qualifying those properties. And use your personality, your certainty, and your likability to get those closed. There's no magic words. Yeah. There are some advanced agreements that you can do, right? When I come over to the appointment today and everything makes sense to you, is there anything stopping you from moving forward and signing the agreement?
Setting expectations.
Right?
Always.
Advanced agreements,
Always.
advanced agreements. So. I hope that helps you out. But that really reduces. And by the way, don't just send a contract over. Meet them face to face if you can, or virtually if you're going to do it. What do you suggest?
That's what I was about to say.
Do you get on Zoom?
No, that's a good question. So we do not send any agreements over unless the seller, and that's a part of our upfront agreement expectations, unless the seller's going to be on the call with us.
Right. Sure.
So if the seller says, I got to go, I can't do this right now, okay, well, we'll just have to do this another time then.
Yep.
Right, so we're not going to send that agreement unless we can go over it with the seller.
As a professional courtesy, that's what we say. As a professional courtesy, what we do is we actually get on the phone with you, go through the contract, make sure you have any questions. Make sure we answer all your questions, and then we can complete the purchase agreement.
Exactly.
So don't just send and hope.
Yeah, that's
it shows a lack of confidence, and it gives people a feeling of, I can just stiff arm this person for as long as I want.
And just
just
like what Brent said too, is like we have our guys that our acquisition managers, home buying specialists that will talk to the sellers and say, look, we have to go over this together. I'll do it myself. Well, I'll be honest with you, it's not my call. I mean, my boss will get mad at me if I don't go over this agreement with you.
Blame him, always.
Right.
Blame the boss.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're just gonna shop you around.
Yeah.
All right. From IG, David Barrera. How does someone learn their market for making offers? It's like Brent said at the beginning. It's just getting reps. I always say that your vibe attracts your tribe. So you got to make sure the people that you hang out with are the ones that are constantly doing deals, or they're at least in the same trenches as you. So you learn by just getting around people that are doing it. That's how I started. I just brought value by bringing opportunities. And my first 20 deals I brought to guys, they were like, Ryan, no way in hell is this a deal. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what would make it a deal? And you got to be patient and understand you're going to get a lot of people upset at front. But when you do it enough times, you're going to start learning the process. You're going to start learning where at least these buyers are going to buy properties at. And then like Gino said, just go in and offer 70% minus repairs, minus your fee. I promise you, if you're in a hot market right now, that number works. So I would just I would start getting around some more people.
We're at 95% minus repairs, minus fee.
Phoenix,
That's
I
insane.
bet.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on where you're at. We have the calculations for all that, David. So, yeah, listen, learning your market, talk to your buyers. Talk to the people doing deals. Do a little bit of investigating. If you see a house that's getting flipped or a house that's on, Zillow, and it's staged and there's no clothes in there's no clothes in the closets, no food in the pantry, this is a flip property.
Exactly.
Do a little research. Put that address into Google and see what it sold for. They'll show you on Zillow, right? If it's a disclosure state. If it's a non-disclosure state, it makes it a little bit tough to find out what price point it was at. But you can try to do a little bit of investigating and see if it was once listed and taken off, and you can kind of get an idea, right?
What did Tim say? Google that shit?
Yeah. Yeah. GTS, yeah.
All right. From Samuel. My team is getting a lot of great deals under contract. I'm worried that I don't have enough buyers to sell them all. Any advice for building my list? What do you got?
I mean, that's a good question, Samuel. My big thing would be is find the biggest wholesaler in your community or biggest wholesaler in your market, and I would start going to them. And these are great deals. That wholesaler will have the buyers to get the top dollar for you, and they're also going to make some money. But that's how you can build that relationship. I mean, as well as go to the title company or closing attorneys, like what Brent said. I mean, go and ask them who's their top buyers. These people are performing. That's why the closing attorney or title company is giving you their information. They're going to be the ones closing. These people are real buyers. And so if you can get those contacts, you only need 3 to 4 really good buyers in the beginning to get you, the price you want for your properties.
You hit that right on the head. I started my first year and I had 5 buyers. I did $250,000 with on-market and agent deals with 5 buyers. The other thing you could do, I hate that it's the same answer again with Google that shit. You type in, for example, Phoenix cash buyers, you're going to see a bunch of wholesale lists. There's usually a contact information on there, or you can fill out your email, reach out to them like Gino said, and guess what? You're willing to give up a little bit of the profit, but you're building a relationship with them and potentially even the buyer that they bring to the table, and then from there it's just off to the races.
Cash Buyer Pack, TTP Insider. Just download it. Gets you the 100 top buyers. It's a lot of what these guys have mentioned and a bunch more different strategies for pulling it. You can actually get some really, really incredible buyers off of LinkedIn. Yep.
LinkedIn slept on.
There you go. Sorry, what was that? 100? Okay. How can I find buyers for vacant land? Drew asked. Great question. Do you deal with much vacant land?
I personally do not.
Okay. So, Drew, first thing first, you need to skip trace all of the bordering properties around that piece of land. And I would highly suggest that you look for land that's in town. If it's out in the middle of nowhere, there's no utilities, you got to drill a well, you got to drop a septic, you got to do all that. You can sell those, but it's tougher, and the profits are much smaller. So I'd prefer if you stay in subdivisions, areas that have houses that are already built. One, you want to go to the neighbors and just say, hey, do you want to double your lot, or do you want me to sell this to somebody that's going to build something here and there's going to be construction? A lot of the times the neighbors are going to want to buy it because they're already using it themselves, or they just want to have more of the property, right?
Sure.
They've always wanted it. They just didn't know how to get a hold of the owner, or them and the owner, or mad at each other for whatever else. Who knows, right? So that's one strategy. The other one is you got to reach out to all of the builders that are in your area. You can find them on LinkedIn. You could probably look up Google registered contractors, general contractors in the area, and get a list of that. Oftentimes it comes with the phone numbers, and then you just start calling. And then anybody that has done a great flip and or built a brand new property anywhere in that area, call the listing agent that sold it and have that conversation. I got a great property that you sold there. It looks fantastic. I want you to do another one. I got a great lot for you. Will you check it out?
Boom.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
122,000 we just got in Sedona for a lot.
Sedona?
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, I was looking at getting Airbnb up there.
Yeah.
It's crowded there,
You have to have a
license.
Really? They did that?
Yeah.
You should talk to Jesse.
Yeah.
Once he's trying to buy up there.
No, I know. I told him.
122,000.
There you go.
From JB, do you work with small businesses or just hedge funds?
For me right now, what I'm usually focusing with in our buyers list is, like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, is going on the multiple listing service, the MLS. And what I found there is we'll get beginner investors. They tend to pay more money. Or hedge funds. So it's kind of actually both. Small, like starting up, flippers, hedge funds, and I also work with a bunch of, first-time home buyers or, retail investors.
Yeah, same here. Small businesses, retail investors, hedge funds. I'm going to get a deal with one, I promise.
Awesome.
It's going to happen.
Guys, if you're getting value out of it, hit that like button. It helps us out so much. Hit that like button. Boom. D struggles. Have you tried wholesaling commercial properties? Yes, absolutely. It just you have to have, with commercial properties, you need to have a robust list of commercial brokers. Let me explain something about the commercial business, all right? Commercial brokers, all they do all day is make cold calls and reach out to people to build a relationship with all the owners of commercial buildings to try to someday get the opportunity to sell those or get a price out of them that when somebody comes to them and says, hey, I need to find a building for whatever it is, they have it in their pocket and they go, well, this one's not listed, but I can talk to the owner. Last year he wanted 2.7 million. I can see if that's the same. Would that work for you? That type of thing. I'm going through it right now. I've gone through it. I understand this. All right. So with commercial, it's all about the brokers. If you get a deal, you need to call around all the brokers on loopnet.com. Loopnet.com. It's kind of like the MLS for, well, it's the public version of their MLS. It's like the Zillow. Yeah. It's like the Zillow of CoStar's the main MLS.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on LoopNet, get all those brokers and sell it that way. And also, if you get it, Dre struggles, I would send it out to all of your buyer lists anyway. You would be surprised. You would be real surprised who responds and who sees it and who passes it off to somebody. And then if that doesn't work, go to the commercial brokers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want Dre struggles to be like Dre wins a lot. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like let's switch that around. Yeah. Yeah.
No struggling.
Yeah. Nikki, do you guys invest in mobile homes also? Any tips on determining ARV for those?
So absolutely. My family has a mobile home as a rental down in Tucson. We picked it up a couple of years ago, $55,000, rents out like $866 a month. Mobile homes are great. The biggest thing for me is just making sure the land is owned, not leased.
That's it. Say that again and explain that.
Yeah.
Because it is it's very weird because you're like, oh, that's a mobile home park.
Right. No.
It's different than a mobile home community.
Yes.
Mobile home community is different than a mobile home park.
Correct.
Right?
So typically like a mobile home park, you will own the land.
Right.
Where like the community is like a 55 plus, or it's just a community where the homes are affixed to the ground and the land they have to pay for, almost like, think of it like an HOA payment every month. So while you may only pay $30,000 for the mobile home, it's super cheap and that's great. You have a $700-800 a month lot lease, and you will never truly own the land, which is why that deal for most investors is typically a little more less appealing. So
yeah, you have to go through the DMV. You have to go to the motor vehicle division to transfer title, as opposed to escrow.
I've seen it go both ways too, like where it can be done at a title company, but the DMV is still involved with paperwork.
Gotcha.
It's just it's a little sloppy.
Awesome. They're great deals. Just make sure they have land, Nikki. So the question with that is, do you own the land as well?
Correct.
Yep.
From Kevin16, best way to find ARV. What websites do you use?
Awesome.
My answer is super plain and boring. I'm sorry, but I use tax records, and it's just attached to the MLS out in Arizona because we are a public state.
Okay.
Same here. Zillow or, like you said,
for sure.
Public records. But
yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. What we've actually shifted into, guys, is stopped using that ARV method.
Okay.
And all we're looking at, like I was explaining earlier, is as is value homes and what we can sell them for, right?
Yep.
So starting out, of course, ARV, but if you guys can also shift that, I was actually going to talk about in my first deal, like I used this 0.7 times ARV minus repairs minus our wholesale fee, and my offer to the seller was like 175. Well, I start calling, and again, this is my first month of starting, and it kind of goes in with this, but when I started calling buyers, because I lost a deal. The seller only wanted 200, and that's it. So 2 weeks later, I'm just calling buyers, building a buyers list, like, do you have anything, or did you have anything before? And I said, yeah, I had this property. And the next day, meet this. I tell them the details where it's at. They're like, we want it. They bought it for me for 210.
Yeah.
So that formula did trick me up, you know, and that's why I don't use it as much.
We go 0.84.
Yeah, so you're higher now.
In any major market.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Across the country.
What?
Yeah.
0.84.
No, I would say that's probably
minus repairs.
Do you want to buy a house in Kansas
minus
City, Missouri?
wholesale.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing. So we look at 10% off the top is what an investor wants to make.
Profit.
Right?
Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay. Minimum though of 20,000.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this is where it gets tricky, is because you could go and buy something in Kansas City
At
for
100,000.
100,000. I
10%
still
is 10.
need to make 20,000 minimum.
Okay, so that's where. Okay.
So it's not the
That's your
10%.
caveat.
That's where
Gotcha.
that equation, the ARV minus times 70%, was created like 25 years ago, and the prices were just lower. So you needed to have that big profit margin built into that, because if you look at it, 30% of 100,000 gets you the
30K,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But 30%, if you try to do that in this
300,000.
market of 500,000,
no way.
You're taking 150,000 off the top, minus the cost,
And the
minus
repairs,
your fee.
No way.
You will be
You're gonna get
blown out of the water.
every time.
Blown out of the water. And listen, you can do that calculation and get huge deals.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't know better.
But do you
Deal
really
in a
get
haystack becomes a
do you
law.
really get huge deals because you think that you can only make so much because you have to sell it at 70%?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to. We're pushing things at 95%.
Look at that.
Yeah.
You know what I
We're
mean?
selling most of
Supply
our
and
stuff,
demand
yeah.
matters. Supply and demand matters. Price point matters. There's not a box that it all fits in. That's why I say if it's over 250,000 on Zillow. So the answer to this, Kevin, is Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com. Take all three of those, add them all together, divide by 3. That's the free version. You can also get PropStream, TTP data, or that's where you get PropStream or batch leads, and that'll give you a little bit more accurate of a estimate, right? And you take that number, and if it's above 250, go 66% of that. If it's below 250 and between 100,000 and 250, it's 50%. And if it's below 100, it's 25%. Will you put it up, Matt, for me, please? Just so that everybody has it there. And I love this beautiful purple color. There you go. There is the estimator. If it's over that, 66%, 50%, 25%. Guys, don't overthink this. I'm telling you, most of our time is wasted because we are worried about putting in the right offer. Get those 3 estimates from free websites, or get one of these incredible list services that estimates it for you. Times it by 0.66, 0.5, 0.25. Offer them that. They come back. If it's anywhere close to that, great. Put it in front of your buyers and learn.
Sure.
That there's too many people. Paralysis by analysis,
you gotta just do
perfectionism, and procrastination. The 3 Ps, right?
Yeah.
The paralysis by analysis is real because we freeze up when we don't understand something. And when you're coming in at 19 years old and you're like, I've never bought a property before. I've never even thought about it. I've never comped properties. I don't know what's going on. It's all right there. It's all public. Google that shit. For real. Put the address in there and get the values.
Confused mind always says no. So
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yep. Awesome. JF. How do you determine ARV on land? Also, what is the buy formula for land?
Got lots of land questions today.
Awesome.
With us, what is it? I mean, it just depends on the build.
20%.
20%? Yeah, 20, 25%.
So listen, whatever the highest comp is in the area, brand new build and or a flip, a builder's going to budget about 20% of that for the land.
Acquisition,
so you need to be under that.
Exactly.
So some land, they just need to deed to you if you're under like 150,000 or 200,000 or 300,000. You know what I mean? You literally, if you're under 250,000 and it's a piece of land, you need to get it at like $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 and sell it for 15 to 20. For real. Yeah.
It's crazy. Do you do a lot of land deals? I mean, I guess you got one in Sedona.
I've done a lot of land deals. It was a big focus, and we still go after them. It's just people either want nothing for them or they want 10 times what they're worth, right? So
mine backs up to a mountain, so it's worth 110%. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so JB, do you work with smaller cash buyers in Georgia or just large ones? Ooh. And I kind of, referenced it a little bit. It's kind of both of those. So, like I mentioned, you tend to get more money from the newer, small cash investors when they just start in the industry, right? And they may be working on their numbers more, but, and then as well as the large ones, if I'm looking at those big hedge funds and retail,
Which
retail
is your
funds.
primary focus right now?
To be honest with you, to be transparent, it's probably, I don't really have a focus because I'm just putting it on MLS. So whoever can give me the best terms, and what we found too, Atlanta is just, Metro Atlanta, it's a big, hedge fund market as well. So on the market, I mean, we have private, relationships with hedge funds, but as soon as we put it on the market, these hedge funds will pay more. The same hedge fund that we gave the deal off market, they just compete with each other.
So let's dig into this a little bit because you've got unique paperwork that you put together with the owner of the property to be able to list it on the MLS, right?
Exactly.
So what do you put together, and how do you explain that to them? If they're like, I don't want it on the market, I don't want to mess with that. It is.
So it all starts with negotiating, right? And so when we give the offers to our seller, we first preface it as this is what your property qualifies for. Your property qualified for $110,000, right? Let's say they're asking $150,000, and let's say our MAO is $150,000 in this case, right? Okay. So we'll come in there and we'll say, your property qualified for $110,000. Again, we do that because it sounds like it's a loan. Like when you go to the bank, you get a loan for $110,000. They tell you qualify for that. You can't negotiate with the bank, right? So subconsciously, we position our words like that. And then what happens from then on is, we hit them low with that first offer. Hey, Gino, I just can't do 110, I need at least 145. Okay, but what if we could, maybe, I'm not saying I could, but come up to, 112, that probably wouldn't make a difference to you. I'll give you some of that Steve, the little
or probably stuff. Not.
Yeah, probably. No, Gino, reality is I need 145. That's the lowest I'll go. Okay, and I'll probably hit him one more time or I'll train my AMs like, okay, so even 115 is probably just no way it would work, right? And maybe we would shoot up to 123 since we're so far off. Yep. And I know my max allowable offer is 150, so I know they reached it, and they're still telling me they want 145, and we're 20 grand off. I'll go to the seller and I'll position this. I'll say, hey, I do have a way where I could get you your 145. Now, it would require you just to be flexible with me on one thing. What is that, Gino? Accessibility. Oh, why do you need accessibility? Well, in order for me to come up to your $145,000 price, I'm going to have to have some of my retail investors and other financial partners come through the property and take a look at it. Now, you're going to get the price you want at the timeline you want, but this is just going to be the thing that I would need you to kind of give us some leadway on.
Yep.
I don't care. I just want my 145 on this timeline. I don't care how you give it to me. And so then we go over the agreement with the seller, and then, we have the rights list on the MLS. And we say, you remember when we talked about you being able to give us this leadway? This clause here is the reason why we're going to expose it to the MLS. You're going to see the property on the market. Now, again, you're getting the price you want at the timeline you want. Okay, that's fine.
So what would be the difference then for the audience listening? Because a lot of them might be familiar with like an Ovation agreement. Break down the difference between novations versus your strategy.
Well, it's the same strategy. I actually have the novation clause in my agreement. Now, the novation, when it comes into play, is once you find that retail buyer, what we decide to do with it, right? So once we find that buyer on the MLS, let's say at 185, now it's
do they have to be cash?
So if it just depends, to be honest with you. That's a good question, right? So
how do you get an assignment fee?
Yeah, so assignment fees, you have to double close. So what you'll see is if it's an FHA or VA loan that has seasoning period, you have to hold it for 90 days, right? Yep. You have to do a novation, right? There's no way you can change the chain of title without having the novation now. But everyone else, it just depended on the lender. And there's no way you're ever going to do an assignment fee with this strategy. Unless it's cash. Unless you and you can put that on the multiple listing service on the listing, say I only want cash out only, right? And then you can negotiate an assignment fee. But what we started doing is, hey, look, let's just put it under an agreement with the best terms, right? Okay. And if they're conventional, that's fine. We're gonna go talk to the lender because, like I was explaining a little bit earlier, is we have 60-day closing dates on these, right? Because that's first off gives us plenty of time to find a retail buyer and gives we know retail buyers close in 30 days average once they do their appraisals and all that, right? So in that time, we'll go talk to the lender. And we're open with them what we're doing, and this is what we've been doing. And they've been telling us, like most of the closing attorneys and the lenders say, hey, we do not care as long as you are not, getting an assignment fee, as long as you double close. Now, we do have some lenders we've talked to. You need to hold it for 7 days, which is fine. Then we'll take it down. We're luckily in the position now to use private money, take the property down. We can make an extra 30 grand, pay the seller an extra 20 grand. Wow. It's a win-win for all of us. So, you know.
So what do you use an Ovation agreement for?
So I rarely use an Ovation unless it's FHA or VA, because in Georgia, if I was just talking to a guy, I believe he's in Washington, and they have excise taxes, and so, you know, it's like 1 to 3% of the In Georgia, we do not have that. So if I had to, you know, pay that 3% every single, I probably would be focusing more on novations, but so I don't have to pay that, you know, transfer of ownership. But you know, since we just double close, it's about $1,500 in closing costs, depending.
So you can close the same day?
Same day. I've closed with multiple lenders
with
same day.
Conventional?
Exactly.
Do you make the...
It's just all with the lender, right? Because some of these lenders, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just all with the lenders. Like some of them do not, you know, don't even care, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Do you make the sellers pay the commission, or do you guys pay that?
So we pay the commission.
Okay. Now, what would stop the seller from just putting it on the MLS themselves with a realtor?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's not what everyone's probably thinking. Well, again, Mr. Seller, you know, you have there's not traditional showings, right? You're not have to clean the house. You don't have to get the house, you know, in perfect condition. Hey, Mr. Seller, as well, you know, we're going to do this as is. You're not fixing the house. Not only are you not having to clean it and make it prep it for showings, you're not fixing the house. And 3, you're not paying realtor commissions, not dealing with any of that. But no, hey, if you do want to go the realtor route, that's fine. If you have the time and the energy to do that, why aren't you doing that? Yeah. And they'll tell you, well, I just want an easy sell. Okay, yeah, we can do that for you.
Right.
Wow. You know, and get you the price you want.
Go ahead.
With a conventional buyer, aren't they doing inspections?
Right. Yep, they do inspections. So obviously, you know, we pick, exactly. So we pick, you know, the best terms.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a pretty hot market, right? So we can kind of dictate those terms.
You tell them the seller will not do any repairs.
So exactly.
So you can do your inspection. But if you're not buying it as is,
exactly.
Done, yeah.
We're done.
And this is what we look at too. If we have 10 offers on the property, you know, what we'll do is we'll start, if we're going to take someone, they better have, you know, 3-5 days DD, and they better have either waived appraisal or contingency. And we also put in these escalation clauses in our agreement. You know, hey, look, if we have the potential or we have the opportunity to also, if we get a better offer, to terminate your agreement. That's one we put in very rarely, just if we're like very
piss
strict.
some people off.
Yeah, and we do that with some hedge funds too, and like it would definitely, it's something rarely done, but if we get an aggressive, you know, that's what we got to do, you know. That's what we got to do.
That bridge, brother.
What is your average like profit on a deal like that? Because I can see like where it's the higher price point commission comes in at 2.5%, which is I'm assuming what you guys are paying.
Yeah, we pay 3% to the buyers.
Okay, so 3% even better. You pay 3% to a buyer's agent. Does that ever eat into your profit heavily to where?
So yeah, good question. I mean, on our calculator, I have an Excel sheet. I made this little Google sheet, and the Google sheet it has it built in there, you know, obviously of us paying these costs. So how we break it down is, you know, what's the market as its price we think we're going to list this property on the market. And again, this is what my home buying specialist acquisition managers are looking at to get the MAO.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, we have the realtor cost, MLS fee, a flat fee listing. So it's already backed out ahead of time into our margin, and we're still paying $30,000 more than any other investors using those formulas we talked about.
So you just put it under contract with the seller.
Exactly.
And then you're just going straight contract to the other. There's no other paperwork besides the purchase agreement?
No, so we have an attorney in fact, and that allows us.
And that's part of the attorney in
agreement.
fact is an agreement that you have?
The seller and you.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
To allow us to put it on the market on their behalf.
So you are literally the same exact business model as an Ovation
Exactly,
agreement.
same
The only
thing.
difference is that you're not partnering up with the sellers and fixing the property and splitting the profit.
Yeah.
You're honoring what number they want and then letting the retail market
dictate whatever we're selling it for. And that's you know, there's so many different novations. Like we're not even doing any work in this case, like you said.
How did you come up with the strategy?
I mean, for mentors. Yeah. I've paid a lot of guys to learn these strategies that are doing crazy amount of deals a month.
And you guys get it free. If you're getting value out of this, hit that like button. Hit that like button. That is awesome. Daniel was up. What did he ask? It just, sorry, it went away. Daniel, new TTP family member as of yesterday. He's rocking and rolling. Just closed an $80K deal.
Yeah. Ring that bell right there.
Yeah, well, we did yesterday.
Yeah,
we celebrated it. Are you more stressed out that with that much overhead, or do you feel relaxed, not that it's delegated?
Let me see.
Now that it's delegated.
Now that it's delegated. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I trust my team, and we have a bunch of overhead. I mean, we pay a bunch in marketing. Like, I mean, it's for sure. But at the end of the day, if
what's your marketing budget?
About $55,000 a month.
Perfect. Yep.
55 to 60, depending.
Yep.
Do you guys flip it all either, or is it just?
Even though I was down like $75,000, and I saw the pipeline I was building, I saw the connections, and you know that's still hard to swallow.
Yeah.
But just seeing that it was successful for other people, just just believing,
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Love it.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Another one for Gino.
All right.
So Luis said, Gino, I have a bunch of leads in Charlotte and all over North Carolina. Question 1, are your buyers paying whatever amount the DD fee is, typically $5K, whether on or off market? I'll answer that question first. So, yeah, so the DD fee, like the EMD, I'm guessing you're saying, right?
Yeah.
The due diligence. So, yeah, they're paying, we'll raise it depending on how hot the deal is, right? So $5,000 is pretty typical.
Standard, yeah.
That's standard
That's
for
it.
what we're doing.
Yep.
Now, do you guys have in Atlanta? There's another fee, and I think Texas has it. It's like an escrow fee. It's separate from your EMD. Just want to make sure we're clarifying.
We don't
guys
use
don't
that
have
one.
that.
Yeah.
Cool.
At least I'm not
Some
using
areas
it.
do.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
what is their
$100.
buy box, please? Thanks. So I do have a hedge fund in North Carolina that we deal with. To be honest, I'm not familiar with the buy box. My dispo girl would know that. But if you want to reach out to me after this, we could talk about it for sure.
DM him.
There you go.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir.
Oh, Sedona deal?
There you go.
Were you part of that?
Anthony did it.
Awesome. Well, then
at
you
that.
ring it, brother.
Let's go,
Ingrid,
Anthony.
Look at
congratulations.
that.
Let's
That is
go,
awesome.
Ingrid.
250.
Let's
250K assignment on the Sedona deal, right?
And I'm pretty sure this is what gets her out of her 9 to 5.
Awesome.
Oh.
Congratulations, Ingrid.
Yeah.
That
Awesome.
is absolutely incredible. So happy for you guys. And by the way, fantastic deal. I actually, you sent it to me. I looked at it. If I had any interest in development, it would have been it would have been a smart deal. But it went to even smarter guys, Luke and Jake, and I couldn't be happier for them. They are now building, I don't know, 50, 60 doors right now, and growing from there. So
It's awesome.
that is absolutely incredible. Congratulations. That is
That's a
great.
big one right there.
250K. I'm telling you, it breaks your brain. After if you get a
one
50
deal.
if you get a 50K plus deal, your brain is changed forever.
Always.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember when it
crazy.
hit me, I literally like I went into like panic mode. I was like, what is happening right now? I checked my account and instantly like everything got watery and my legs kind of got and I was kind of like blurry-eyed, and my wife's looking at me like, what the hell is going on over there?
You sick or something?
You know?
Look at the bank.
And I was just like, I can't believe this. I mean, I was in a rough financial shape, and that pulled me out and really helped out. And part of that deal went to, so I had a judgment. I had signed an office lease when I was a young man. Then 2008 financial crisis hit. Real estate went bananas here in the wrong direction, and I lost everything. And I had this big judgment for over $700,000, and I was like, at some point I need to hire an attorney to be able to negotiate this judgment, and I was able to do that with that deal, and got that off, and that was like then I was just loose,
The weight off your
I was off
shoulders.
the chain at that point. I was running down the street like a madman. Like a wild dog.
Yeah.
But
I think I remember you always saying too when I was starting out. I remember hearing from you. You'd always say like, if you just do this consistently, every single quarter, like,
Every quarter.
you're gonna get
Massive
a big
deal.
one. Yeah.
every deal, massive deal. Yeah. We just, the last year and a half here because of,
market.
the market.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
just-
averaging that every deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's crazy. Anyway, is direct mail still an effective way to market?
We just started direct mail, so I'm not the best one to answer
go.
this.
And I don't do it.
Great. Listen, every marketing channel is an opportunity.
gonna stay
I will
consistent,
say a couple different things. One, really just I would target the ugliest houses, the 1,000 most ugliest houses that you possibly can. And I would do handwritten notes. I really would. If you don't have time to write 1,000 times a handwritten note, I get it. Then you can hire Ballpoint Marketing. Ryan Dossey, great buddy of mine. He has a phenomenal company there, Ballpoint Marketing. And they do that for you and send it out. And I would just stay super focused on it and test it. But I will tell you this, Gray, or Jay Gray, if they call you and you don't answer live, you are throwing money into a fire. Mm-hmm. You're throwing it, you're burning it all up. You might as well just, go crazy with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you need to answer it live. That's how important it is. Answer it live, pre-qualify them, and see if they want to sell. All right?
For sure.
There you go. Awesome.
For CC, do you rotate
cold calling?
Okay. For cold calling, do you rotate numbers to reduce spam likely?
We call it TTP here. If you don't want to use CC, that's fine. We just call it talking to people. It makes it a lot more positive.
Right.
You know, cold calling feels so like, oh god.
Yeah, it feels like
it's so cold and it sounds so terrible.
Yeah,
I rebranded it. TTP. So let's get to it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you got to rotate all the time. I mean, sometimes we rotate daily. If you're using batch dialer, they can give you like 10 numbers and they rotate it for you. It makes it a lot easier, Drew.
How often do you rotate your numbers?
Shoot. I think every day.
Daily.
What we do on our CRM too, something here, tip, is we actually put now where we have numbers for each lead manager that are dialing. Obviously, sellers, like every day of the week, they have their own number. Like they have a Monday number, a Tuesday number, a Wednesday number. Because we're even seeing that. So no, like they'll have a number on Monday. Okay. They'll have a number on Tuesday, and it's set, right? So like next Monday they'll hit the other Monday number. But that's prevented us because even in our CRM we've been getting marked spam. You know, for how many dials we're doing. So.
Wow.
Tyler, do you call lists until you've reached everybody? I'm getting a lot of voicemails and people hanging up due to dialer lag time when answering, wondering if I should stay on the list or start another Tyler. If you're my Tyler, which I think you are, I'll have them call you and fix that. Usually it's a setting in your dialer that's causing that lag time, but you do not want that lag time. It'll destroy it. If you're having lag time, you need to recall that list 100% because people are just hanging up, you know?
For sure. Catherine Rivera.
Do you need my phone? Can I have my phone? Let me see if that's the...
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Boom.
Okay,
that's money.
There you go. Go ahead.
From Instagram, from Catherine Rivera. How do you deal with stereotypes that wholesalers are trying to scam people with low prices for houses that might be worth more? So this is transparency. This is communicating, likability, tonality when you're on the phone with them. And then also, too, for me, I really like to focus on just making sure they understand they could make more money if they were to list it. My model is a little bit different where I am a licensed real estate agent. So if I were to tell them they could probably get more money listing it, I can also still be that service to them by being the realtor. So as for stereotypes with wholesalers, bring value. Understand that when you come to them, you are trying to create a service, and sometimes speed and convenience is worth the price point you're willing to pay, which is, again, where it goes back to likability, tonality, and just how you set the expectations with them.
Listen to this. This is funny because it's your market. I have an incredible student named David. Gotcha. David lives in Nigeria.
Really?
David cold calls from Nigeria to Atlanta. Gosh. He just got a deal. Actually, I think this one might be Houston. You know what? He's in Houston. Sorry.
That's right. It's all right. We'll say Atlanta.
But the same thing. He just I just got a text. Jeremy, my disposition manager just sold it for an 18K pop.
Heck yeah.
No. 23K pop.
There you go.
Yeah, 23K.
Yeah. Look at that.
And he's making calls. David, if you're watching this or watching the replay, congratulations, brother. I'm going to ring this for you. There you go.
Hey, there it is.
From Nigeria.
That's crazy.
He's 19 years old.
That's crazy.
He's you. Across you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's you guys, right? You know what I mean? Getting started on this thing super early and just taking action. And I'm telling you, you talk to enough people, you get 23K deals. Doesn't matter where you live. It's incredible. There you go.
All right. Ooh.
Oh, here we go. Finally.
From Lorenzo Harkins. What's the best kept secret for grabbing more deals from the MLS? Brent just said it. It's talking to more people. It's going to be talking to more agents. It's going to be submitting more offers. It's going to be understanding that just like when you're going in, you're targeting a list that may have motivation direct to seller, you could target the same type of filters and motivation on the MLS. It could be a property that isn't selling. It could be pre-foreclosure. It could be probate. It could be fix-up. All these things that we're going to be going through inside of our course.
Awesome. Tim Keegan. Is it possible to JV with real estate agents if you have a seller lead with no pain but wants to sell in the market?
Absolutely.
All day long. It's called referral.
Yep. You got to be careful with how you word it with them because they may not be able to give you the commission, but you could be a marketing company that invoices them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you don't have a license, at some point get a license or have somebody on your team that has a license or have somebody that you know refer the lead over to them that have a license and then, you know,
you can play the game.
Get paid that way, Tim. But absolutely, we make a good amount. We'll make 6 figures this year just from agent referrals.
All day.
Just from sending over really clean properties with people that want a retail price and don't have an agent. We send them over, and our referral partners do a phenomenal job getting them closed.
Do you have your license or someone on your team licensed?
No, we actually don't have anyone licensed, but I have really good partnerships with a couple. Actually, my buddy has a brokerage, so we use him. We also refer stuff out to him as well.
Sure.
There you go.
Josul Paulino. Should I have an agent to make offers for me, or should I go straight to the listing agent? What's the better process? My attorney answer is it depends, and it depends specifically on the seller and the situation. So if you're competing against 15 offers day one on market, and the only way possible to get the deal done is either to go unrepresented or have the listing agent represent you and the seller, do that. If it's been sitting for 30 days and you are licensed, either an agent you work with or you being licensed yourself would represent yourself in the transaction and get that commission on top of it. So
Albert, what's your thought?
All these MLS questions, it goes back to talking to people.
Yep.
I mean, the difference instead of talking to sellers is now you're talking to the agent.
Yep.
I mean, a good example is I'm a traditional agent too. I still got my clients' offers accepted. They were not the highest offer. They did not pay cash. And they still accepted our offer because I did the one thing that the other agents didn't do. And the other agent told me that they didn't have a phone call with them.
That's it.
They didn't call. They didn't talk.
Crazy.
And I over-communicated everything to lay it down transparent. And that agent, therefore, felt it was less risky to work with me and my clients because I got nothing to hide. I told you exactly how the deal is going to go down, what they're offering. It goes down to the one simple concept.
That's it. Awesome.
From Oleg. Can you please advise on how to walk through the house when virtually looking for deals? Is it through Zoom? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so what we do is if it's, obviously we ask condition questions, right? And we know a lot of sellers aren't telling the truth half the time.
Right.
I think that's what Pace always says, sellers are liars, right? But at the same time, we also, if we're in...
It's buyers are liars, sellers are worse.
That's right. That's what it is, right? So what we also do is we have the sellers on a lot of our deals actually send us pictures of the property, and we tell them that's going to benefit us, as much as possible. Give you the highest offer if we can actually see, more detailed pictures of the condition of the home.
That's literally the game.
If you need a checklist for that, Oleg, TTP Insider, I'm telling you, perfect offer pack. We've got a checklist. You can send that to these property owners so that you get the pictures that you're looking for. Because if you just tell them to take pictures, it turns into
you have to give them
very
very
specific instruction. Yep.
Gino,
Rocky.
Up with a bunch of little pictures, right? And of course, it also depends on the seller.
This is my sink.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my flooring.
Yeah, look at my baseboard.
This is my hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly.
And
of course, it depends.
What? You sent me 3 pictures? None of them are like the kitchen or bathrooms or anything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Can you send me more? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
And that's when we try to go out there, and we also read the seller. If it's an older person, they're not using their phone, right?
No.
So we'll go out there and we'll say, hey, we'll do the convenience for you. Just be 15 minutes.
Yep,
for sure.
So just to clarify, agents can wholesale while contracted with a realty company.
Yes.
There you go. Awesome. There you go. The answer is yes. Last question. One Ton Patriots.
Hey.
Welcome back.
There we go. Look at that. That's his truck next to him.
Repeat.
By
Look
the
at
way,
that thing.
That's his truck. Yeah, that's right.
That's a Georgia truck right
That's
there.
a joy. It's for sale. You ready?
Hey.
Yeah, it's for sale. There you go. Great to see you. 3 more deals under contract yesterday. Congratulations. Let's go, baby. That is awesome. Let me hit you guys as we close the show with a quote. And if anybody knows where this quote came from, I'd love to find out, but I love this. Poor people do the wrong things. Rich people do the right things. Wealthy people own the right things.
I love that.
Interesting.
Right?
Love that.
Isn't that dope?
Yeah, that's a crazy
I
one.
love that. I heard that and I was like, oh, that's it, right?
Get that
I mean,
tattooed.
you can be as rich as you want, but you're not going to be wealthy until you own the things that are assets.
To make you wealthy.
Let's pop it up real quick, Matt. The steps to Millionaire Before 30. It starts with first, do a deal. Just do a deal. Get the proof of concept. Build up in your mind the fact that you can do this. We live off of faith when we start. Cross that bridge from faith to fact. Do a deal.
Mm-hmm. And then you transition. You make the biggest jump, which is going from proof of concept to doing this business full time.
That's right.
When you transition full time, you should be able to understand that more time and more energy, more effort should lead to more production and more volume, which then obviously leads to the third step.
To a credit card company, to a car loan, to student loans, Don't be somebody else's ROI. It makes it very difficult to build up your own portfolio, your own,
Absolutely.
Number 4.
Your own assets.
There you go.
You basically start over at ground zero. We understand all the variables and all the things that can happen in life that could lead you to where you're at today. But once you're able to go full time, you're able to kill the debt and start over at zero. What do? You already have the proof of concept from doing the business. You have the ability to do it full time. You start investing into assets. This is where we create cash flow. We create assets that are going to generate income for you every single month, which is what leads to the 5th and final step that we're all trying to achieve. Financial freedom. Financial freedom,
a.k.a. control of your life. Control of your schedule, control over the time you have left. When we start out, we trade our time for money, and then our money starts making little babies and starts giving us more time. That's what it does.
I like that.
So that is our show, Millionaire Before 30. You guys got this. We love you guys. Gino, thank you so much. That was incredible.
That
was a hot 90 minutes. That was really, really great. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Love you guys. See ya.